In the brave new world of policing after Fitzgerald, this meant that police who had complaints on their records were often overlooked for promotion. I am not for a moment suggesting the inquiry should not have happened, but I saw the aftermath adversely affect the way police operated. It seemed to me that some sections of the service were more concerned in creating a corporate hologram than focusing on protecting decent people from their predators and criminals. I still bleed blue, as the saying goes. I have nothing but absolute respect for police and the job. This is not a happy story, but one that needs to be told. The days I have written of no longer exist, thankfully, and policing is now not only more professional, but definitely more challenging than it was. My hope is that this book may go a little way to helping readers look at police officers and the work they do through a different lens. They don't just write traffic tickets. To all my brothers and sisters in blue, thank you for your service and your friendship over the journey. I am sorry your contributions to the safety of Queensland were tarnished by the actions of the few who didn't deserve to carry the badge. You will always be a part of me and my life. Prologue. 30 years down the track. By 1993, Harry Shehab was on the run. He left Brisbane one summer's night, headed south along the coast with nothing more than his Harley-Davidson and a few $1,000s stuffed in his saddlebag. Once a straight young cop, he now looked more like one of Queensland's many bikies with hair around his shoulders and a scraggly beard. The last thing he wanted was to be pulled up by police, or worse, recognised by them. But running was Harry's only choice. The last time I'd seen Harry, the real Harry, was a decade earlier, in late 1982. He'd just finished an operation, and I met him in the Brisbane CBD for a beer. Harry had always been a devout Muslim, and him drinking was the first in a series of drastic changes. I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was 1980s Queensland, and practically every cop in the job drank. He was the same guy I'd always been, smart, idealistic, honest. He was about to leave for a job in Cairns, so we didn't see each other for a while, and up there, he changed. A decade later, riding through the dark in midsummer, Harry's blood was full of heroin. It had been there almost every day since he returned from Cairns, and the cash in his bag came from banks around Brisbane. Over the next week, Harry rode his motorbike down the Queensland coast through New South Wales and on to Adelaide. 10 years earlier, he'd never had a drink in his life. In 1982, he'd been a constable in the Queensland Police Force, working deep undercover operations, targeting drug rings. In Cairns, Harry was forced to use heroin to maintain his cover. No doubt, someone was suspicious of him. Maybe he thought he could just take heroin once. Lots of people do. We were all damaged then, but none of us knew it. Our police work affected us like sediment building up, an accumulation, dead bodies, car smashes, rape victims, the sound of people dying and the sound of people trying not to die. When the heroin hit his brain, it made all those things seem very far away. After Cairns, Harry did a couple more operations and then returned to uniform. I guess he was the only uniformed police officer in Queensland with a heroin addiction, although he hid it well, and he held out until 1992 before the drugs and their effects became too much to handle. The job unofficially recognised its culpability and paid him out, medically unfit. No therapy, no rehabilitation, no responsibility. The money soon disappeared, and all Harry had left was his bike and his habit. Harry got it the worst, but nobody came out unscathed. We started off as kids and became hardened undercover operators. Some of us became tactical response specialists. Some of us became detectives. We'd kicked in doors, been shot at, infiltrated heroin importation rings and mafia circles. The job taught us how to be effective narcs, but not what to do afterwards. It didn't know what to do, and neither did we. We could buy drugs, fool dealers, and we could drink enough to wash it all away. So that's what we did. It would be decades before anyone saw Harry again. Most of Australia has heard the stories about Police Commissioner Terry Lewis. History shows that along with Jack Herbert, Tony Murphy and Glenn Patrick Hallahan, he helped run the most notorious corruption ring revealed in Australian policing. You can read about how Brisbane's Fortitude Valley was home to gambling dens and brothels, and the involvement of Jerry Bellino, Vic Conti and Hector Hapiter.